What's good? Welcome back to another edition of Dat Talk Podcast. I go by the name of Bacon. I got my co-host with me.
We in the building, baby. You already know that, man. It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. You know, we grown men had a lot of grown things to do yesterday. But we ain't forgot about Dat Talk Nation. That's why we here live, baby. That's why we here.
We're not live, but we're here though. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean live as in live.
But we can rejoice a little bit. Yesterday, the verdict came in, and my man Derek Chauvin or whatever got charged on all three counts for the murder of my man George Floyd that lost his life last year to a police officer. I wonder what's going to happen with the other officers. Nothing. They just that he's on.
I'm like, this morning I was watching something, and they kind of talked about him. One of the officers actually got inside the ambulance and was trying to help with the resuscitation part. Don't know which one, but you know, one of the officers, I guess, tried to do his due diligence after the fact. And then the other few, they could be charged at some point. So they're trying to figure out, somebody was saying it wouldn't be smart if all three of them went for at once. So they probably break it up. So, you know, they ain't off the hook either yet. So
that's good. That is good. Again, prayers out to George Floyd family and prayers out to the man who committed the crime, man. Everybody make mistakes. You know, it happens to the best of us. He just made a big mistake that hopefully he can learn from and better himself from it. You know what I mean? I don't want to, I know a lot of people have been like, you know, F you to this guy, and, you know, hate don't heal. Hate don't heal at all either. I know our hearts are hurting, but we can't handle our pain with hatred. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the answer. That is not the way. You're able to express your emotions, but hating a man for making a mistake it's not the answer. You know what I mean? We got to forgive. We do have to forgive. And hopefully this is a sign to things to come moving forward in the justice system. This is just one case. We don't know what can happen. This is a continuing thing that continues to happen to Black people, Black men, per se. And so I just want to thank everybody who was on the trial, who made the right decision. You know, they did the right thing. And that's a big step in the right direction, man.
And, shout out to the police officer that actually testified against it. You know, that's very uncommon in that blue shield that they talk about. Officers really don't sit there and speak up in these situations. So shout out to the police officers who were also trying to do right and trying to correct these wrongs that have been happening.
Yes.
You know, and as far as everything else goes, I feel like we also got to be real weary of the sentencing. I wouldn't put too much hope and stock into anything maximum. I would just, you know, look at for what it is, that at least finally there is some kind of justice.
Yeah.
You know, we got to, you know, it's unfortunate that we got to kind of take what's given, but we have to also kind of just roll with it and hope that this deters us from even having to be in this situation. I honestly, you know, hearing about cops on trial and cops possibly going to jail for killing somebody is not nothing I want to hear in the news. So even with the sentencing of them knowing like we can actually go down for this, and it's maybe get 5 years, maybe 7 years or something like that. But the fact that the seed has been planted should hopefully deter these things so we won't be having to have these conversations.
Facts. I mean, wrong is wrong and right is right. But on to today's news and news stories, man. We got a lot to talk about in just a short period of time, but let's focus on troubles in Brooklyn yet again, man. And it's crazy, you know what I mean? Because it started like the mob star. What's the Space Jam? The Moon Stars, the mob stars?
Monstars.
The Monstars. It started like the Space Jam Monstars, and it's looking like they're coming to become average again because injuries and, you know, health concerns is depleting this team left and right, man. Again, we want to say our thanks to LaMarcus Aldridge, who had to retire out of sudden health risk to a heart condition, so he's not able to play basketball. He gave the game 15 hard-earned years, and though he didn't win an NBA Finals or a championship, he did put his heart and sweat and tears. And I know he went to Brooklyn to possibly have an opportunity to compete for one, but that was cut short. And not only is LaMarcus out, but we have some troubles with KD injured again, and now James Harden is re-aggravated his hamstring injury, and he's out indefinitely with no return timetable. What are we going to do in Brooklyn, man?
And I had a conversation with my boy yesterday, because he's the one who texted me about the James Harden news. Shout out to my boy Ryan. And I seen that, and I said, oh, no. And his perspective is it's already hard to find team chemistry.
Facts.
When you got three guys that are at that level between Kyrie, JH, and KD. So we talking about once-in-a-lifetime generational talents that have to find chemistry.
Facts.
We probably played 3 and some change games together and ain't found the chemistry. Now, when we look at it, if I say a timetable, I'm going to give James the playoffs. But I don't suspect him to be fully healthy during the playoffs. Yeah. So he's going to be kind of hobbled, and they don't have chemistry. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
It's just because is the NBA. This is not how the NBA works. Most teams that go win championships have kind of went through the fire. You feel me? Like, when Boston won with the Big Three, that was a veteran Big Three, but they was together all year. You feel me? You see, it took the Heat a whole nother year. You feel me? Yep. It was easy when KD joined the Warriors because they was already in that groove, and KD became. But again, he played the whole year. So right now, the Nets are 3 games above Milwaukee. They're about 6 games above the 4th spot. So I don't see them dropping no further than 3. But the problem is they may run into the Heat, Boston, or the Knicks in the first round. Mm-hmm. I got them beating the Knicks, but I'm not confident in them beating Boston, and especially not beating Miami without no real team chemistry. I'm just telling you right now. They could beat Boston in probably 7, but they not beat Miami in a first round series.
I would say this. I do agree with a lot of that team chemistry. Team camaraderie is very, very pivotal. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate just for a second. I can say this could be part of their storyline, right?
Oh.
To create like, oh my God, with all the injuries, with all the ups and downs, and the Brooklyn Nets was able to figure it out and win their very first franchise NBA championship. Blase, blase, blah. We see it countless times and time again. Storylines sells, okay? And so it looks doom and gloom in Brooklyn, but I'm not going to be on the fence and say it's looking real bad for them and they can't recover because, again, the way you get chemistry is by playing. Now, the Lakers, again, they are also in injury issues, but their injuries are coming to fruition. They're going to be coming back very, very soon, but that don't mean that they're going to be just boom and catch it. They haven't played for about 2 months. 2 months, and now you got Drummond, and so the rotations, everything is going to change. It's going to be an interesting playoffs, put it that way, because you got the 2 teams that everybody is saying that could go, but it's not a guarantee at the end of the day, man. You can always be beat on any given day. The Lakers ain't got chemistry. The Nets ain't got chemistry. But there are teams that are playing extremely well who chemistry is slowly but surely starting to improve, and they're catching their strides at the right time. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But we don't know what's going to happen in Brooklyn. I just hope they all get healthy. I don't want nobody to be hurt playing in the playoffs, but injuries are part of the game. But this lets us know maybe we shouldn't have started this season so soon. I'm just going to call it a spade. And we could talk about that later as well, too, that maybe the NBA should have reconsidered and given these people an opportunity to heal their bodies and heal from a long and daunting season, man. They should have did something. That's just me.
I'm not against it, but I only really see 2 teams that really suffered That's Miami and the Lakers. They played the longest.
You got the Nets.
No, the Nets was going first round.
No, but Harden played. He's second round.
Yeah. But he second round, he was gone. He had an extra month.
He still played.
But Harden, but you got to also remember, Harden didn't take the first part of the season serious.
Hey man, I ain't getting into all that. That's
what I'm saying. If somebody else brought up, because we about to talk about him next anyway, so I can lead into it, talking about Steph. And because right now the man is on a tear. He just surpassed Kobe as 11 straight games of 30+ points over the age of 33.
Yes, he did.
He had a week where he hit 10 3-pointers in a game 3 separate times. He has more 10-point 3-point games than the next 5 people behind him combined.
Mm-hmm.
So the man is on a tear. Yes, and so when you look at him, you're like, what he on?
Mm-hmm.
But the Warriors are still in a 500 basketball team.
Well, I truly believe Steph has got to put on Allen Iverson type performance every night. You got to go for at least 40, 50 to give his team a chance to win. He's just got to step into another level. There's only certain players that's able to do that. And he's one of those players that just can lock into a zone where you're like, oh my God, we're seeing why Steph is one of the most prolific shooters, one of the most prolific point guards or scoring guards, I should say, because nowadays point guards are not like point guards no more. Okay. They're scorers. Okay. And he's a prolific scorer who can score at a high clip. And I think Steph Curry is putting himself on. He's making me even a bigger fan, because when you're able to do it when your team is not that good, right? But he's able to put on these numbers and put on these performances and just what he's making and type of shots he's shooting. And you're just like, man, how can that go in? But it's going in. It's like he's shooting into an ocean and he can't miss. And the brother is in the zone right now. Okay. He has his takeover badge, and his badge ain't ran out for the last 11 games. I believe it's 11 or 10 games. 10 or 11.
It's 11. He broke Kobe's record at 11. So
now he's probably going to go for a 12. And he's doing that because he knows the bigger picture. Look, I ain't saying we championship contention, but I want to be in the playoffs. I don't want to sit again this year. I want to play. I don't care if I lose. I want to play. And if he plays against a Utah Jazz or Phoenix Suns, hey, they got a chance. It's not a guaranteed lock that they're going to lose when he's playing like that. They shouldn't win, but hey, anything's possible. So all you got to do is get in the playoffs, and then anything is possible. It's a brand new season at the end of the day, and I love to see it. I enjoy watching it. Him and Jason Tatum have been on the tear these last few games. And don't forget about my man, Paul freaking George. I know we always say this. He does this in the regular season, Pete, but hey, I got to give respect to my man. He's been balling and he's been doing his thing and putting up numbers, man. Mr. Tuesday, because every time he play on Tuesday, he's always the player of the game. So you got to give him some credit on Tuesday and TNT, man. He's been there on the record. But
like I said, I hold Paul George to a standard. And that standard is I need to see Paul George in this zone, in this bag, in the playoffs. That's all. You feel me? His talent is so good to where I appreciate it, but it's expected. You feel me? Just like I feel like you get to a point to where it's like, okay, this is what I expect, but I need this to carry over. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like he's at that level now, where now we got to see you put it on, because that's like kind of with Giannis. Giannis does all these beautiful things in the regular season, and we get to the postseason, it's like,
yeah,
where you at, bro? Why you not leading your team to be better? So, I feel like the addition of Rondo has really also helped, because that just allows him to be focused on scoring.
Yeah.
And then, Kawhi has been out, and he's about to be out for another week. So, the scoring load is on his shoulders for him to have to pick that up for the team right now. And he's battling with a toe injury. So he's showing his heart and his will that he's not about to be stopped, or he's not about to make no excuses. The one thing I don't want to hear is when we get to the playoffs and say he's not performing, then we go back to the talk. Like that's going to annoy me. because that was the kind of comments he made after they lost. Man, Doc Rivers had me playing this and Doc Rivers had me doing that. And it's like, bro, you just played bad. We don't want to hear these. You just own it and say, I got to be better. And that's all we need. So
yeah,
I'm happy for PG. PG's balling. Jaylen Brown's balling. Tatum's balling, which is them two balling together, which got Boston skyrocketing. And Steph Curry is got his Superman cape on and is leading the Warriors. I wish he'd have been in this bag a little earlier in the season. Maybe they wouldn't be a 500 team. But I also blame that on Draymond because I feel like Draymond ain't helping. He's just out there. Like,
I wouldn't say that. I'm not. I think Draymond plays his role.
Yeah, but you have to, at some point, when you talk with that brass that you talk, you got to become more than just your role. If you was a person that I'm going to just do my part, show up, do this. But when you get to talking and you doing all that and you got your chest all poked out, I need you to be better. I feel like Draymond is good enough to me. I don't need nothing spectacular. Draymond should be giving me 15, 8, and 6 a night. That's not a lot.
I mean, you may seem that it's not a lot, but you got to understand it's taking shots away out of other people. You know, I don't think here's the thing. We can have our opinion on what we want somebody to do. But at the end of the day, Draymond does what he's really, really great at, and it does what's best for the team. They don't need Draymond to score 15. They need him to facilitate, to make Steph Curry life easier. We see how Steph plays without Draymond, and we see how Steph plays with Draymond. They have this sort of connection where they know where each and every person's going to be. He's guarding the defender on the other end. He's rebounding. He's outletting. He's getting the offense in the order. Like, he does a lot of things. Basketball is more than just scoring. If he got to score, he'll score when he has to. But his role is, look, Steph is hot right now. I want my best player to make sure he's getting the ball in the best possible ways to score easy, efficient shots. I don't want to try to overdo and overcompensate, because when I try to do that, sometimes I put my team in situations where we can lose games because I'm trying to overcompensate. I think what Draymond doing is extremely well. It's time for these other young men to step up, man. They've been here for a while. It's time for them to pick up the load. It's time for Wiggins to pick up the load. It's time for Oubre to pick up the load. It's time for these other young warriors to start picking up the load. And Draymond's going to do his job. He's going to play defense. He's going to rebound. He's going to disrupt. That's what he does. He don't need to be a scorer, and I don't want him to be a scorer. I love what he does. That's why Steph has been on a tear, because he's been there helping Steph getting the ball where he needs to be. And that's why I think Draymond don't need to do a lot. It's the other players. We need to expect more out of Wiggins. We need to expect more out of Oubre. We need to expect more out of these other young Warrior players, so then they can continue to strive. But putting that pressure on Draymond, it's not necessarily pressure. He's doing his job, and he's doing his job tremendously well.
Yeah, I hear you. But like I said, man, he can help out. Because obviously these dudes, Wiggins and Oubre, ain't about this moment, ain't about these championships. You a 3-time NBA champion. So because you a 3-time NBA champion, your standards and expectation are higher than two dudes who don't have that title. They don't know what it's like to go 73-9. They don't know what it's like to go win 3 rings. You do. You understand what it's going to take. So I hear you to where, yeah, he's doing his role fine. But right now, you the one that said it's not fun not to be competing for championships. So that means you should be elevating your game to put your team in a situation where they're competing for championships. Right now, you are the second star. There is no Clay. There is no KD. You the second star. If there was anybody else that had a quote-unquote second star, we hold these second stars accountable. We hold CJ McCollum accountable. We hold Jamal Murray accountable.
They're all different players.
But we hold them accountable.
You're holding Draymond accountable. He's doing his job. Steph Curry's been on a tear. They've been winning games. They've been in games. He does his job. And being a leader is not just on scoring the basketball. It's getting people in the right position. It's making sure these young guys are prepared for the moment. It's getting them mentally ready for the war that they're trying to do to try to make the playoffs. And I think Draymond's doing that. My thing is, when you try to compare him to the McCullens, the Murrays, that's not his game. He's not a scorer, never been a scorer like that. He gets his buckets. He gets his busy buckets, I should call, off the rebounds and things like that, fast breaks, layups and things like that. And when he has to shoot a little bit, does it, but that's not his game. And that's just what it is. That's not his game to go out there, shoot some threes, hit some mid-range. That's not him. He does that. That can hurt the team. They have players that's supposed to do that. And until they do that, that's why they're not going to ascend to be an even better team. And there's a lot of pressure on Steph Curry. But let's move on to the next topic before we end up getting up out of here. Who is your top 5 MVP candidates at this moment?
Right now, number 5, I got LeBron James, just because you see how impacted the Lakers are without their guy. I mean, you can talk about that for a lot of different teams, but the Lakers before LeBron was hurt was a top 10 team on offense. The Lakers without LeBron, bottom 25. They're in the top 25. Defensively, they're still pretty good, but offensively, they're trash. So you see the impact and then what he was doing before the injury. That's why I got him at 5. 4, I got Steph. Even though he's on a tear, it's just too late. It's too late to go on this tear. But you also understand how bad the Warriors are without him. So you see the trend of when you're missing a guy like a LeBron and a Steph, your team ain't very good. So that's why I got Steph at number 4. My number 3 spot, I have Dame Dollar. I feel like he's not getting his just due in what's going on. Right now, he's currently kind of injured, handling his hamstring, but Dame Dollar has kept this Portland team afloat with the injuries of C.J. McCollum and Nurkic, and I feel like that needs to be commended because after, when you missing C.J. McCollum, who's a 20-point guy, Nurkic, who's almost a double-double guy, that's big. And they've also had no Zach Collins all season, so, he's done his part. At number 2, I got Joel Embiid. And that's only because due to injuries, he's missed a few games, but we already know what his impact is. He has been dominant from game 1 when he has played, and his numbers speak for themselves, and he is a legitimate problem. And then number 1, I got Nikola Jokic. He's the only player out of the 4 people I've named that has yet to miss a game this season. He's averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, around 8 assists a game. He's shooting 40% from the 3. He's shooting around 50% from the field. And he is now having to carry the team because Jamal Murray just tore his ACL. So we can't expect Denver to go too far. But Jokic has been playing has played every single night and has continued to be a serious problem. So that would be my top 5. Bron, Steph, Dame, Embiid, Jokic.
That's nice. That's a nice 5. I will have to say right now, I got Jokic as number 1 because he's been consistent. He hasn't been hurt. And his team's in the winning ways. They are definitely in the and he's performing. He's performing, and I got to give him that. Embiid as my number 2. I like Embiid. I do like Embiid. He only been out for like a week or 2. He didn't miss that much, and he's came back and he's gotten his team back on the tear. There's the number 1 spot again, and that shows he's a prolific piece on that team. Now, this is where it gets real dicey for me. This is where it gets real dicey for me. Okay. Now, the number 3 spot. I know this is a random one, but they won't give him credit, and I get it. They will never give this man credit because they just don't respect his game like that. But I feel like Chris Paul deserves to be at the number 3 spot. What he's done for Phoenix, that team was on the verge of being possibly getting in, but not getting in. But taking Chris Paul and putting them on that team. They're the number 2 team in the freaking NBA, and they still get overlooked. They still don't get the respect that they deserve. They still don't get to do. And I get it's about the numbers, but what Chris Paul, what most valuable player means to me is what is that team without that team. All right. And Phoenix probably wouldn't even be a number 2 team without Chris Paul. And I really appreciate what he's done. He's been healthy. That team's been winning. He's been competing. I know the numbers may not look as good, but where is that team at right now? They're number 2 in the West. Number 2. What did he do for OKC?
They're number 2 in the NBA, not just the West.
Okay, in the NBA. But what did he do for OKC? He took them to the playoffs. And he still didn't get no respect. He still wasn't even contention. It's crazy to me. Now, number 4. This is where it gets dicey again for me, man. The number 4, I gotta say, number 4 is Steph Curry because of what he's doing, man. If he can get his team to the playoffs, okay? If he can get his team to the playoffs, I gotta give him credit. It's just, again, what he's doing, if he continue to put on this tear, I'm going to have him going up to number 2, maybe even number 1. I don't care. I get it. You've been healthy or not. But, hey, what he's been doing, man, has been going on a tear. If he's able to keep this consistently going, I'm sorry. I am sorry, okay? I am definitely sorry. And then number 5, this is where it gets tricky for me. Because these are I'm going to give you my potential candidates, and I'm gonna give you I'm gonna tell you which one I chose. You got Tatum, who's playing some great basketball. Paul George is playing some amazing basketball. We got Dame Lillard, who's always been playing consistently. He just hurt right now. He's been playing some basketball. And then this guy right here, Luka Doncic. Okay, Luka Doncic has been playing some amazing basketball as well too, and he's helping the dang near Dallas Mavericks turn it around. He's getting my opportunity to turn it around, and that's a team you don't want to face. I know y'all be thinking Luka is an easy dub. Nah. That's a team you don't want to face. I would have thought about LeBron, but LeBron been out for too long. If you've been out for a week or 2, I understand that, but LeBron been out for a month. I can't give him MVP because he's been out too long. I just can't. I just can't do it. And I don't want to disrespect those players. And then you had the number 5. Okay, the number 5. The only reason I put Curry ahead of this person is because he was out only for a week. Then he came back and went on a tear. But the number 5, I have to give this man number 5, Jaylen Brown. He hasn't been hurt. Hasn't missed no days. He's been playing consistently. He's been on a tear. He's been producing all year. Now, I know Tatum's been balling these past few games, but Jaylen Brown has been consistent all year, in my opinion. He has not missed any days, any games. He's been consistent all year long, and that's why I have to put him at the number 5. That is my 5. I would have went with Luka, but I think even Luka was out for a little bit. For some injuries, but Jaylen Brown needs his flowers. Give him his respect. Those are my 5. You don't gotta like it, but that's my 5, and that is what it is. But before we get up out of here, what do you want to say before we get up out of here, man?
Just basketball's heating up.
Yes, it is.
About 14 games left, and you already know, man, we're gonna be here for your basketball needs and our playoff predictions. So, stay locked in, stay tuned. We'll also do our regular season awards too as the season concludes. Let you know who's our MVP, our 6th man, and all that good stuff. So stay locked in, and we'll be back, baby, with some more news next week. Hey, AD back this week, baby. Probably playing about 15 minutes a game. Uncle Shay called him Baby Goat. So, Baby Goat may be back this week. Start getting this ramping up. Hopefully we can get LeBron around game with 8 games, maybe 7 games left. He can start ramping it up, and we can get in these playoffs, man, and get it going because a storm is on the way.
Hopefully for the Lakers, man, it'd be good to see because the Clippers are playing some great basketball. I'm not going to worry. I know you don't want to worry. But anyway, y'all let us know, who are your top 5 candidates for MVP? Y'all heard me and Reason's top 5. Let us know in the comments below. Again, be safe. Take care of yourself. Always remember to talk that talk. We see y'all for our draft. We'll probably do that on Friday. Give y'all a day to marinate that. All right. So we'll get y'all some drafts on Friday, or we possibly record it tomorrow. We'll let you know. Deuces.